I want to tell you something my father told me when I was a young man, something so simple I almost did not take it seriously. He said, "The difference between a person who looks wealthy and a person who becomes wealthy is knowing what deserves your money." I have been thinking about that sentence for over 60 years, and the older I get, the more I believe most people never learn it. When I was growing up, my father was not a wealthy man by any measure you could see. He wore the same coat for 12 winters. He did not drive a new car. He did not talk about money at dinner parties. But quietly, carefully, over many decades, he built something. Not something you could show off at a table or park in a driveway. Something that lasted. Something that grew while he slept. I used to watch the men in our neighborhood who did the opposite. They wore their success on the outside. New clothes every season. The finest watch on the wrist. Always something to show. Always something to prove. And as a young man, I will admit to you, I was impressed by them. They seemed to have figured something out. They seemed ahead. But my father would look at those men and say nothing. He would just nod, quietly, the way a man nods when he already knows how a story ends. It took me years to understand what he saw, because what he saw was not what those men had. He saw what they were giving away. Every dollar spent performing success was a dollar that would never work for them. Every purchase made for the eyes of others was a small trade, a trade of future wealth for present appearance. And that trade, made again and again over a lifetime, is how a person can earn a great deal of money and still arrive at old age with very little to show for it in any real sense. Here is the thing about money that most people are never taught directly. Money is not just something you spend. It is something you can put to work. It is something that, given the right direction and enough time, can build a life you did not have to perform for anyone. But it can only do that if you let it. If you are constantly sending it out the door to buy things that impress strangers, it never gets the chance. My father understood this not as a financial theory. He was not a man who read financial books. He understood it the way a farmer understands soil. You do not eat every seed. Some seeds you plant. And what you plant today is what feeds you years from now. He used to say to me, and I can still hear his voice when I think about it, "Ephraim, before you open your wallet, ask yourself one question. Is this something that will take money away from me? Or is this something that can help create more?" At the time, I thought it was just the caution of a careful man. A man who had lived through hard times and did not want to repeat them. But it was more than that. It was a way of seeing the world, a lens. And once you look through that lens, you cannot look through any other. Think about what most people see when they look at a successful company. They see the product. They see the shoes, the phone, the car. They see the thing being sold. And so, they become buyers. They stand in line for the newest version. They upgrade before the old one has even stopped working. There is nothing wrong with enjoying a well-made thing, but there is a question worth asking. While one person is spending hundreds of dollars to own the newest product, another person is asking a different question entirely. Not what can I buy from this company, but how can I own a small piece of what this company builds? That is a different kind of relationship with the world. One person walks away with a product that begins losing value the moment they leave the store. The other walks away with something that may grow quietly for years. My father did not use the word assets. He was not speaking in the language of finance, but what he was describing was exactly that. He taught me to think about two kinds of things. Things that take money away from you over time, and things that can work on your behalf over time. A purchase made only to impress. A luxury bought not because it brings you genuine joy, but because it signals something to someone else. That is money walking out the door and not coming back. But a business you own a piece of. A property that earns while you sleep. A patient and consistent investment made over years. Those are seeds. Those are the things my father was protecting when he wore the same coat for 12 winters. He was not being poor. He was being precise. There is a very large difference between those two things, and most people never stop to notice it. And that precision, that quiet, deliberate precision, is something the world rarely celebrates. The world celebrates the watch, the car, the grand gesture. Nobody makes a documentary about the man who said no to something shiny and put the money somewhere it could grow. Nobody applauds the restraint. But restraint, practiced over a lifetime, is one of the most powerful financial forces there is. My father knew this. He did not need applause. He needed results. There is a phrase I have come back to many times over the years. Some people put their wealth where everyone can see it. Others put their wealth where it can grow. I have watched both kinds of people. I have seen the ones who arrived at every occasion looking like success, and I have seen the ones who arrived quietly and said very little. And I will tell you, it was almost never the loudest ones who had built something lasting. The quiet ones, the patient ones, the ones who asked the right questions before opening their wallets, those were the ones who, decades later, had real choices, real freedom, not the appearance of it, the actual thing, because that is what wealth really is. When you strip everything else away, it is not a number. It is not a label on a jacket or a car in the driveway. It is options. It is the ability to say yes when you mean yes and no when you mean no, without fear driving the answer. And you do not build that by performing. You build that by planting. The lesson my father gave me was not about deprivation. He never told me to live small or to deny myself the things that bring genuine meaning. He told me to know the difference between a reward and a distraction, between something that adds to your life and something that only adds to your image. Before you spend your money, ask yourself honestly, am I buying something that makes me look successful, or am I building something that makes me successful? The world sees what you buy, but your future depends on what you build. And if you can hold that one sentence in your mind the next time your wallet is in your hand, just that one sentence, I believe it will serve you better than almost anything else I could tell you. I have carried my father's lesson with me for a very long time now. It does not get easier to practice. The world does not make it easy. Every day there is something new to want, something new to signal, something new to prove. But every day there is also a choice, a quiet, private choice that nobody else will see you make. That is the thing about building wealth. Most of it happens in moments nobody witnesses. The purchase you did not make, the upgrade you delayed, the money you sent somewhere it could grow instead of somewhere it could shine. My father wore the same coat for 12 winters. And he left his children something that outlasted every coat in the neighborhood. If something in this video stayed with you, pass it on to someone who needs to hear it. And if you are ready to keep building, I will see